And the neighbor has lost a tree through the fence and through the power line that we were looking at getting replaced today. So it looks like this happened yesterday. Okay. So we will probably have to take this ground stake up and out, or drive a new one at the back of the house. Either one's acceptable. But we're not going to mess with it for right now. Pretty impressive, actually, how much this mulch pile over here did break down, especially considering how dry it was. Looks like we had some Bush beer fans, Bush regular, and this was underneath the bathroom repair. Looks like we got 23 December 2003, and there was about 12 of these. So probably around January, maybe a little bit later. So always interesting, the things you find that help you date the work that was going on. All right, I'm done outside for right now. Might have to do some more around that tree. The next thing we're gonna do today is I'm gonna get the tripod set up. We're gonna check for level through everything in the house that I can see. I've got access to about 75% of it with the laser level now, so we're gonna check north, south, and west, part of the east wall, and see what we come up with. Just how far off are we here? You guys hang in there, I'll get this set up. All right, well, we've got a bit of a difference here between our sides. So on this wall, we are spot on with the sill. But on this side of the house, we are off by half an inch. So this side of the house is a half of an inch lower than that side. Over here, we are less than an eighth of an inch off. And we are a full half of an inch off over here in this corner. And that corner back over there, half an inch. All right, so if only one point in the entire house is right where it's supposed to be and everybody else is exactly a half inch high, we have a consistent half inch off. All the way down this wall. It looks to me like this wall has sagged. So has that foundation probably from washout. So a half inch total grade difference over exactly 26 feet. So what do? Well, we start with the fact that we know where this is now. And my first instinct with this, given that so much of it is almost exactly on, is to jack up the house, which I already have the jacks for. That's not necessarily going to be our best answer. It could be that we leave the substructure as it is and simply reframe for a higher floor, which would work. Then we would come back here and put blocking as we go along, and then simply keep it level to this side over here, since we're going to be redoing all of these floors. So we would keep that as our true height and just adapt everything else on the wall that's already been altered. Thank you. Let's think about that for a minute. All right, now with the level completely set up, level on our east wall, level with it on our south wall, a half of an inch high all the way along the north wall, half an inch high all the way along the west wall. So it tilts down towards the north and the west over 26 feet, half of an inch. So there's water that has run in significant amounts under this wall, that wall, but no portion of the wall is out of that half inch off. I think it was framed a half inch off. And yeah, it's exactly a half inch off the entire way down the wall. And that wall too. Either somebody misread their forms, or mismarked their forms, would be my guess. So what do we do about it being a ½ inch off over the length of the entire wall on two sides? Well, one option would be we simply don't use that level and we reframe to a different level. And that would mean that when we come back over here, I would notch out a ½ inch off of each one of these boards and keep the same level plane all the way across. That's probably the simplest answer, since it's not going to require me to do anything exotic to fix this problem. The only real problem I think with that would be my sill plates. I would need to have another sill plate on it all the way around, which really isn't that big a deal. I could do that and go back in through. I'm not sure I like that either. Let me think about that. A short amount of time. I'm supposed to be meeting the electrical engineer from the utility company so that we can get that overhead power line dealt with, possibly move to another location if they're not willing to bury it in the backyard. I'm going to be bringing in some joists and getting some materials set up, possibly even doing some work on the inside on the floor if time allows. But every project has its days where things don't go the way that you plan. And coincidence, not exactly irony, but coincidence happened that, well, let me just show you. So I pull up, everything looks normal, and then I pull around back. And the neighbor has lost a tree through the fence and through the power line that we were looking at getting replaced today. So it looks like this happened yesterday with that storm that rolled through. No significant limbs down over here, but look at that. Power pole has been forcibly ejected from the situation, bent over at the roof. Line is coiled up down below. None of this is going to be usable again because it's already too short to run out there. So hopefully when the engineer gets here today, we'll be able to have more compelling reason why this should be buried and move along with that process so that we can get it underground and away from the wrath of these trees and of nature. Looks like we got some damage to the fence. You guys are seeing this as I'm seeing this, as I haven't been back here yet. Looks like somebody fairly heavy came back here to work on this. Maybe it was the utility company, I don't know. But you will have to do something about this. And it looks like they just, stacked it all out of the way. Whatever, that's pretty reasonable. So the backyard has been attacked yet again. And this is where we pulled out that other tree. So I'm really surprised, honestly, he didn't sink further. We had almost 4 inches of rain in one storm, and then followed on about 3 hours later by another 3 inches of rain. So we had flooding in some areas back home, and it looks like they had about the same amount of water here. There's wash paths all along on the ground out here, and footprints here and there. So another project to clean up, something to get going with, and I am hopeful that we'll be able to put the buried power line somewhere right in here. Anywhere along this wall will be fine. So as long as we can bury it, bring it up and bring it in from here, it won't interfere with the deck plan that we've got over here, and I don't have to worry about going very far with any heavy gauge wire, because almost all our high utility usage is going to be in this wall along this side. So we'll have our stove, we'll have the air conditioning unit, we'll have the dryer, we'll have the water heater. Yeah, all one straight line down there. So a 200 amp panel coming into the house, and we'll run everything off that. So fun stuff, and we'll get it done.